Hi, good morning. Can you hear me? Yeah. Welcome to Indus Business School. I've had a long association with Dr. Marwa and the Indus Business School myself. So you are very lucky to be here in Pune. Now in a few weeks, just a week, 10, 15 days, Pune will be beautiful. You are in one of the most beautiful places in India. And please, whilst you are here, explore Pune. You know, I had a lot of friends when I was in school who went to NDA. And they get liberty. Why, I don't, you guys get liberty or not. But they used to go to Pune, Ferguson College Road and camp. And even today, there's this old restaurant in Pune called Marzorin on MG Road. I met a naval admiral who was retired as the CNC South of the Indian Navy. And he came to deliver a lecture while he was just in his last posting. And he went to Marzorin. He said, because as a cadet, I used to go to Marzorin. So do explore Pune and do connect to the local ecosystem. I was just telling Dr. Marwa that you should be encouraged. He says, they do a lot. So please do that. So this is the topic. Can I control it from here? Yeah? Okay. Okay, yeah, thank you. Just take 2 minutes to read this, please. It's a very, very different perspective of the world. I bet you after you go through this, you suffer me for an hour or so, you'll never look at the world map in the same way again. I guarantee you that. Now it'll change your whole perspective, the whole foundations of your thinking. It's a very different, very simple way of looking at the world map. So just read this and we'll get on with it. Are you done? Yeah? See, remember this is a carved in stone or whatever you say, it's a given. 70% of the world is water. In fact, more than that, 75%. Because 5% is the freshwater systems, 70% is the oceans and the seas. 80% of the population of the world, mind you, lives within 200 nautical miles of the sea or access to the ocean. 80% of the population, despite the fear that the seas are rising and all, people still want to get closer to the water. And 90% of global trade goes by sea. The cheapest form of transport is water. The cheapest form of surface transport is water. And then comes railways, then the road, and the most expensive is airways. This is logistics. I know you are guys from, you're all from ERP and SAP, right? So electronics and computer systems, and that's what you backgrounds. But still you have chosen to learn computer systems. And see, I am a one who believes we should bust all silos. Silos restrict our thinking. All creative thinking, all great ideas come out of the silo, out of the box. So we need to bust silos. Silos is the wrong way of learning and teaching. See, this subject I am talking here is all about geopolitics. See, geopolitics is geography and politics. Now, geography is your destiny. See, where you grow up shapes your culture, your tradition, your mental makeup, your thinking, everything. Geography is your destiny. See, why are the Marathas like this? Because this is a land of mountains and valleys, and that's what has shaped the Maratha, the Shivaji's Maharaj style of warfare also. See, you will find the same thing in the Afghans. They also used to fight guerrilla tactics because the mountains allow you that. And again in Mewar, if you go to Rajasthan, because of the Aravalis. So the mountains shape them. So likewise, whether if you are a coastal guy, you'll be very happy with fish and rice. That's the staple food, right? So your geography shapes your destiny. Remember this always. It's like you can etch it in your minds. Geography is your destiny. Wherever you come from has shaped you. Right? So I'll just set the context for you. See, we have this thing in the ancient Ayurveda and all. The nadi, वो वैद आके नाड़ी आपकी परीक्षा करके आपको बताता है कि आपकी तबीयत कैसी है, क्या है. So there are these arteries and the meridians in our bodies. And this is the prime meridian, right? Which is our spinal cord. And all your endocrine glands, your hormonal systems is linked to these glands. And this is what has been used in our ancient philosophies also to Kundalini Jagrut karna, usi ke liye, na? So these are the chakras which link to your energy levels also. The human meridians. See, these same meridians, if you want to heal someone in physiotherapy, you heal, massage those points will heal you. And if you hurt those points, they can cripple you. They can cripple you. So they are used in the martial arts also. Now this is the prime meridian which runs through Greenwich Mean Time, we call it, right? And we are locked in. We have 5:30 plus of GMT. India is 5:30 plus, right? So this is a purely arbitrary line. This Bhagwan ne nahi banaya ye line. Ye humans have made this line. And in history, there have been different prime meridians earlier. See, in India, for us the prime meridian is Ujjain, Mahakal, right? See, if you go to get your Janampatri made, तो पंडित जी आपसे पूछेंगे आपका जन्म कहाँ हुआ था, and उस हिसाब से वो उज्जैन के मैप के हिसाब से then he will predict your future for you. But this is a pure. So in Rome, when the Roman Empire was there, it was Rome. Now this was done by the British. Greenwich is like a suburb of London. So actually we follow London Mean Time basically. So when they mapped the world, they had to take zero somewhere. So this is 0 degree longitude. And then this lat long grid was born. When they mapped the world, the lat long grid was born. And this is what we use for GPS. All our GPS operates on this. Right? And this is Sir Halford Mackinder. He is considered, just make a note of this name and you can Google him and read more about him. He is the person who is considered to be the father of geopolitics and geostrategy today. And he is the person who started teaching geography for the first time as a formal subject. He was the head of department of geography in Oxford University. तो उसके पहले geography कोई सिखाता नहीं था. Right? हमारे हिंदुस्तान में हमने क्या बोला, भूगोल है, which is right. We are perfectly right. See, the Westerners used to think the earth is flat. We said भूगोल है, but we left it there. We didn't go कि अब हम भी prove करके दिखाते हैं कि let's go round and come, एक चक्कर काट के आते हैं. हमने नहीं किया ऐसा. We said भूगोल है, perfect. So this gentleman came up with a theory called the heartland theory. The heartland theory, दिल का, the heartland theory, which is the core of all the geopolitics of the world. ये यूक्रेन की लड़ाई क्यों हो रही है ना? If you read him, then you will understand why this Ukraine war is being fought. Why Russia is fighting for Ukraine. Why Europe is fighting for Ukraine. Because, and this is another gentleman, he is the guy, the choke points of power and the master keys that controlled world trade. He is the person who identified them. He is a British admiral, the second most famous admiral from the British Navy who identified these points. And he served on a ship called the HMS Calcutta. Can you believe it? The name of the ship was Her Majesty's ship Calcutta. He served on a ship called the HMS Calcutta. And when he died, he said, he wrote in his will, I should be buried near the hull of the ship. Because the ship had been decommissioned by then. So he said, मेरे को मरे बाद वहीं पे दफनाना. The ship's name was HMS Calcutta. See, this is a dog with a choke chain. What is a choke? A choke is the tie you wear. वो एक फांसी का फंदा है. The moment you wear that tie, you smarten up. You know you are on duty. See these police dogs, you should see them. The moment they put that chain on him, that fellow knows he is on duty. आपने टाई पहना तो आपको मालूम है ना, अभी बॉस काम पे जाना है, क्लास में जाना है, you have to shape up, straighten up. That's what the choke chain. It's a Fasi kafanda. Simple thing it is. You can choke. And that's how they train dogs. This is it. Simple thing it is. That's what your tie is. Right? And this is how the choke points are. There are 11 points here on the world map, which if you control the world, you control everything. The geopolitics, the geoeconomics, everything is controlled like this. These 11 points control the world. These are the chokes of the world. So I'll take you from the left to the right, from the west to the east. First we'll go to Panama. Donald Trump wants Panama. You heard that? Why he wants Panama? Now you'll understand. This is Panama Canal. It's like a staircase in the water. Now from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. It's a staircase where you climb up. There are locks. See, these are the locks there from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Now mind you, both these canals, the Panama Canal and the Suez Canal, were both conceived by a French architect called Ferdinand de Lesseps, and both initiated by him only. The Suez the French built, but the Panama Canal was completed by the Americans. The French couldn't complete it. Right? So these are the locks there. So you climb because the levels of the two oceans are different. So you have to climb and then again climb down. Here, this is Panama City. See, most of these choke points, almost all of them, are tax havens also. See, there is a movie. I'll tell you to see a lot of movies. Make it fun for you guys. So, watch the movie Panama Papers. Panama Papers में अपने अमिताभ बच्चन साहब भी अटके थे. Nawaz Sharif is there. A lot of people. But Panama Papers is a movie by, I think, Meryl Streep. If you just Google it, Panama. So this is it's a beautiful city controlled by the Jews who control the money of the world. So this is Panama there. Can you see that? Yeah, this is Panama, and there is a proposed canal, Nicaragua Canal. This was considered earlier also, but then they said Panama is better, but Nicaragua Canal. Now the Chinese want to build this canal. The Chinese are willing to build this canal. They are willing to pump in $50 billion to build this canal, but the Americans obviously will not allow it. There is a lot of politics there. So this is the Chinese plan to dig a canal there. So it's still in the works. It will take maybe decades to, if at all it happens or not, whatever. So there is a lot of insurgency, a lot of military, a lot of issues in Nicaragua, a lot of politics there. Right? This is Panama here. See, Panama is here. This is Panama here. Now, if this is choked, you can imagine you have to go right around here. And the cost to it. See, the Americans will have to have two navies, one on the Atlantic coast and one on the Pacific coast. The cost of it, huge. So that is the reason why Donald Trump says Panama mangta humko. Simple. It's all geography. So Panama was actually a province of Colombia, the country. And they engineered, then this Panama seceded and became a separate country and all that. But this is the real game there. See, this is the tip of Cape Horn, which is the tip of Latin America. And this is considered to be the Mount Everest of the Capes. It's almost impossible to go around there because it's all ice-bound and too much of icebergs and everything there. So it's almost difficult to navigate a big ship from there. So the first person who circumnavigated the world was Ferdinand Magellan, and he used this. He used this thing. This is a satellite photograph. See, you can see all the it's all टाइटैनिक हो जाएगा आपका उधर वहाँ से गए तो. So this is the Straits of Magellan. So Ferdinand Magellan started this to prove that the world is round. He went round. He couldn't complete it, but of course his colleagues completed the voyage. And these are the Falkland Islands. There is this movie you should see, The Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher. It's all about the Falkland Islands. There are more sheep there than men. But this is 8,000 kilometers away from the UK, from the British islands. And they will not let go of it. Why? Because they can keep an eye on the movement around Cape Horn. They sent in a nuclear submarine because the Argentinians were asking for these islands. There's nothing there. There are more sheep than human beings. But they are so strategic that they will not let go of them. So if you see that movie, The Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher, उसमें है इसके बारे में है. And this is the southernmost city in the world. I have tried to link all these choke points with some cities so that you remember better. Ushuaia. And this is where you go to Antarctica from. All voyages to Antarctica generally start off from here. This is the launch pad. This is the Rock of Gibraltar. It's a 7.5 kilometer square kilometer piece of land. And in Greek mythology, these were called the Pillars of Hercules. So this is the Atlantic, here, and this is the Mediterranean, and this is Gibraltar. This is Morocco here. No, Morocco is here, and this is Spain. And except for this small island, small 7.5 square kilometers, that's it, which is UK territory. And again a tax haven. So lot of money can be moved around. This is it. So this airstrip, either Spain hai, and that is UK. That airstrip is the boundary. Just that much, that piece of rock. And that rock is a mountain in which there are a whole lot of guns there inside, the artillery guns, they were used in the Second World War. And there is a church inside there and everything. This is me there. And the third is the English Channel, the Straits of Dover as they are called. This is a satellite photograph of the Straits of Dover. This is Europe and this is UK. That is UK, this is Europe, right? UK and Europe, yeah? So this is you can see from France, you can see the White Cliffs of Dover, which is the UK. Now there in Pune, there's this movie, I'm forgetting, it's a Winston Churchill movie. I'll get it. Just forgive me for this. There's a road there in Khaki Cantonment on this, where the Allied forces were holed up in France. Dunkirk lines. Thank you. Dunkirk lines. So there is a road in Khaki Cantonment here in Pune, which is called the Dunkirk lines. So Dunkirk is the port, and you should see this movie Dunkirk, Dunkirk, right? And how Winston Churchill becomes the Prime Minister, and it's all about that. So they were holed up there, and there were a lot of Indian soldiers fighting there. Whole lot of Indians have died there in Dunkirk. That's why this road has been named after Dunkirk lines. And how they were saved. The fourth one is the Danish Straits. One of the biggest shipping lines of the world, the Maersk line. You must have seen those big containers with the big star on it, Maersk, right? So Maersk is headquartered in Copenhagen, yeah. And these are the straits of the Danish Straits, Denmark. Now the only way the Russians can get out of the Baltic Sea is through this route. There is no other way to get out. Absolutely no other way. So this is Copenhagen here. For anyone who is interested in urban planning and all, Copenhagen is supposed to be the Mecca of urban planning in the world. The most beautiful city in the world is Copenhagen. So everyone who wants to learn urban planning, they all want to go to Copenhagen. So this is Copenhagen here. And the only way the Russian submarines or the ships can get out from the Baltic into the North Sea is through here. Abhi Modi ji gaye the na Norway. See, this is the mermaid of Copenhagen, which is the symbol of Copenhagen. And the next one is the Straits of Bosphorus. This is very, very interesting. I'll tell you how to relate it to us. Istanbul was conquered by the Turks in 1453. Remember this date, 1453. It has got huge implications for India. The fall of Istanbul was one of the reasons why India got colonized. It's very difficult to, but I'll explain to you in 2 minutes. In 1453, it was Constantinople and the Eastern Russian Empire, the Roman Empire, Eastern Roman Empire, and the Turks took over and they renamed it Istanbul. Istanbul is a very interesting city. Half the city is in Europe and half is in Asia. Here you'll get the idea of what I've been telling you now. This is the last big picture. See, this is Copenhagen here. See, this is Copenhagen here. Now the Russian port of St. Petersburg is here, upar idhar. So the only way the Russians can get out is through here, Copenhagen. There is no other way. Absolutely no other way. Right? Now this is Istanbul here, on the sea. This is the Black Sea, and this is the Crimea, Ukraine. Crimea is with the Russians, and they have taken this much of land of Ukraine. The whole coastline here they have taken from Ukraine into Russia. Ukraine used to be part of Russia once upon a time. The whole Kiev was supposed to be the mother of whole of Russia actually. That is why there is so much of, and the bigger issue is that they can't get out of the Mediterranean into the Mediterranean from the Black Sea unless they go through here. दूसरा रास्ता ही नहीं है. There is absolutely no other way to get out. That's why these fights. This is Istanbul. It looks like a river, but it's the ocean, connecting the Dead Sea to the Black Sea to the Mediterranean. See here, you'll get the whole picture now. See, this is Copenhagen here. This is Gibraltar. This is Dover, and this is the dark green is the Greece Islands, and this is Istanbul here. Right? Now this is the Crimea. This is Ukraine, and the Russian Black Sea Fleet is based out of here. No worries. So you understand the geography now? You can't get out. The Russians, this was what was used during the Cold War to jam the Russians. Because, see, Russia is the largest country in the world, even after the breakup of the USSR. It spans across 11 time zones, you know. जब यहाँ सूरज उगता है वहाँ पे सूरज ढला भी नहीं होता है. इतना, you can imagine that's how Russia is. 11 time zones. To give you an idea, India is 1.5 time zone. We have adopted 1 time zone for convenience. जब कलकत्ते में 6 बजे आप जाएंगे, people meet at 6 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock in Calcutta is bright. जो अपने यहाँ 7-8 बजे होता है, 8 बजे, Calcutta 6 o'clock is wide awake. So we are 1.5 time zone. Russia is 11 time zones. Huge, massive country it is. From Vladivostok to St. Petersburg. And they are blessed with every mineral in industrial quantities. They don't need anyone else in the world. उनको किसी की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Oil, uranium, you name it, they have it. The problem of Russia is, it is all in the upper reaches of Siberia and it's all frozen. Their ports are frozen 9 to 8 months in a year. Now what do you do? Suppose you have 10 million tons of gold. You're sleeping on a bed of gold, you're walking on a golden floor, you're eating at a golden table. What is the value of gold? What is the value of gold? No value. Because too much supply. See, value is a function of demand and supply. If there is no demand and huge supply, what is the value? Nothing. Right? Now Russia, the problem of Russia is this. They got everything, but they cannot trade. Why? Because their ports are frozen 9 months in a year. तो आप बेच नहीं सकते. दुनिया में demand है पर you can't meet the demand because you can't supply. That is the problem of Russia. That is the geography of Russia. So Turkey. See, Turkey also has a big, great history of the Ottoman Empire, which was one of the longest empires in the world. 700 years, the Ottoman Empire was there. And because Turkey fell, Istanbul fell in 1453, the Turks choked the spice route, जो आज हॉर्मस में हुआ है ना अभी. They are choking the oil route. The Turks choked the spice route, which was by land, into Europe. Because it was by land, and they had one Constantinople, changed the name to Istanbul, and they said, "Abhi 3 times more, 4 times more you have to give us." So it became unviable. And the Europeans, see, this is Europe here. See, this is the whole of Europe here. Right? The Turks choked here because all the land, it was going by land. The spices were going by land into Europe. So the two most outermost oceans, countries on the Atlantic, which is Spain and Portugal, they are the first to get out of to find a route into India, because the spices came from India. So they got out first, Spain and Portugal, right? Trying to find a way to India. And Christopher Columbus, within 40 years, 1453, 1492, within 40 years, landed up in the Americas thinking that it is India. And that's why they call it the West Indies. You get it now? So this is, see, this is Spain, Portugal, and this is Istanbul. Because the land route was choked into Europe for spices, this is what happened. Now with the choking of Hormuz, see, India, China, Southeast Asia, Turkey, Japan, South Korea, we are the biggest consumers of energy in the world. So what is going to happen? We are all going to go off oil. That is the future. In next 40-50 years, India wants to be not a petro state, we want to be a electro state. Electric vehicles, everything will go electric. See, with the cooking gas also not available, everyone is getting an induction stove, right? So the future is all electric. The future is electric. And this is what happened with, in 1498, Vasco da Gama landed on Indian shores. 1453, the Turks take over Istanbul. 1492, the Americas are discovered. 1498, Vasco da Gama lands on Indian shores, opening up the route for the Europeans to come. And thereafter, all these the East India Company was established. So there was a Danish East India Company, a French East India Company, the Portuguese, everyone wanted landed up here in India. So within 50 years, Vasco da Gama showed them the route to India. And look at the history of the world. We got colonized. So this is the Suez now here. See, it's very simple. You know, just see these two fingers. This is the Gulf of Suez and the Gulf of Aqaba. Gulf of Suez, Gulf of Aqaba. I'll show you. Yeah. See here, you can see it. On the left is this is the Suez, and this is the Gulf of Aqaba. And this triangle here is Israel. You know what is the size of Israel? Israel is the size of Pune district. Only a Pune district, and the population of Pune district, 8 million people. But look at the headlines they hawk all over the world. Why do they hawk all these headlines? Because it's a very prized real estate. Very prized piece of real estate. That's why Donald Trump is interested. He's a real estate guy. He wants to build a French Riviera there. It's the most prized real estate in the world, Israel. I went there in 2 delegations. homeland security and cyber security. They are like masters there in Israel in these two fields. And they say openly that, see, earlier we used to go to Europe, then we went to the US, because Israel is so small, I told you, like, it's like a lab. So once we get our ideas, how do we scale up? So earlier we scaled up in Europe, now Europe is not going anywhere. Then we went to the US, US also is, now we want to go to India, because the Chinese are not open for us to do business with. And that's why they want to come to India. This is a satellite photograph of the Suez Canal, the city of Suez. See, in 1915, this canal was proposed. See, there is a possibility to build another canal there as an option to the Suez Canal. See, the Suez Canal is very interesting history. The Suez Canal was built in 1869, opened in 1869, built by the French, not by the British. It was built by the French. Then the British realized that if we don't control the canal, we'll lose India. And India was the jewel in the crown of the British Empire. India was their most prized possession. The whole British Empire has been built on Indian manpower. That's why I keep saying, why can't we Indians build empire? If they could use us to build their empire, why can't we build empire? It's all in our mindset. It's our mindset. See, there is this very famous American geographer and historian called Thomas Sowell. Just make a note of him. Thomas Sowell, he's a black American. He's remarkable. He says that what the British Empire, what the Roman Empire did for England, unwittingly the British Empire has done for India. What he means is that because the Romans ruled the UK, it gave the English a sense of empire. What is empire? Empire क्या होता है? क्या चीज़ है? That's how the British got a sense of empire. So he says that what the Roman Empire did for England, unwittingly, and गलती से बिना सोचा समझे, the British have done for India. The British have done that same thing for India now. Now India can think of empire. Look at Mittal Steel. It's the biggest steel empire in the world, built on Indian manpower. Right? Mr. Lakshmi Nivas Mittal has built a steel empire. All his top managers are Indian. There are a lot of videos on him. See those, it will inspire you. A boy who grew, he's done his BCom, came out of Calcutta and went on to become the steel tycoon of the world, steel baron of the world. So, see, Indians have to think differently. So, the Suez Canal was called the lifeline to India. The lifeline to India, because that was the shortest route from India to Aden. Aden is in the Gulf of the Horn of Africa there, which is another choke point which is controlled by the Houthis. I'll come there. The route of the canal, this is part of the Swiss peace plan. See, there is this plan, possibility to build another canal there. The Israelis want to build this canal. And they say work has already started. The Ben Gurion canal. Ben Gurion was the first prime minister of Israel. So they want to build a canal as an option to the Suez, this canal, using the Dead Sea, and this is the port of Aqaba. You should see this movie, the Lawrence of Arabia. Please see this movie, Lawrence of Arabia. Peter O'Toole, very fascinating movie, and you'll understand what I'm saying. He's considered to be the father of Jordan. Omar Sharif is the actor. Very interesting movie, lovely movie, you'll love it. Lawrence of Arabia. Professor Lawrence of Arabia was actually a professor. His name was Professor T.E. Lawrence, and he was a professor of archaeology at Oxford University. And when the British wanted to get this canal, Suez Canal, back from the French, I mean, back in the sense they didn't build it, but they wanted the canal, they sent in T. Lawrence. He was a professor of archaeology who spoke Arabic. So he dressed up as an Arab and went into Arabia. And he's the guy who's drawn the map of Arabia. All these Arab states, the House of Saud, Saudi Arabia, everything has been born out of T. Lawrence of Arabia. Because he spoke Arabic, he was recruited by the MI6, the British Secret Service for which James Bond works. And you guys want to work for, right? So he worked for MI6 and changed the whole map of Arabia. Because this was all, see, even Makkah, Medina till the First World War were controlled by the Ottomans. The Turks controlled. If you see the map of Ottoman Empire, they all controlled Makkah, Medina also. Now this is the Aden. I live in a 100-year-old house in Pune, which used to be called Aden Villa. Aden was the first port of call after any British ship left for the UK before independence. So from Bombay, the first port of call was Aden. And Aden is where the Houthis are. All this problem which the Americans are having is the Houthis are being funded by the Iranians. So they want to build a bridge there connecting here. This is Africa here, this is Djibouti, and this is Aden here. They want to build a bridge. It is called the Al Noor city. This is the plan of the Al Noor cities, which is going to be better than Dubai. Going forward, will be better than Dubai. This is Djibouti, is a tiny little country which used to be a French colony. Now the Russians are there, the Chinese are there, the Americans are there, everyone is there. And they want to build a city and they want to build a bridge here, the bridge of Horns, across connecting Africa to Asia, to Arabia. It's a $10 billion contract. Guess who's got that contract? Who got that contract? The Bin Laden construction company. Osama Bin Laden's father's company got that contract. Because he was, don't forget, he was a CIA agent also. So this is a pictorial representation of the Al Noor cities. One city is going to be in Asia, in Africa, and one in Asia. That is how it is planned. So this is, this is Djibouti here. Tiny little enclave here. Very, very strategic again. And this is Aden here. This is the Gulf of Aden. There's this movie you should see, Captain Phillips. First time a US flag vessel was taken by the Somali pirates for ransom. Who's that famous actor? Like Tom Hanks, yes. You guys, you are really smart, yeah? You see a lot of movies. Tom Hanks, it's a very, very nice movie. First time an American vessel was picked up by the Somali pirates and taken for ransom. I like that Somali actors acting so much better. He was an actor, a small-time actor who went to New York and used to drive a taxi because he was not getting a taxi job as an actor. But the way he's acted, he beats Tom Hanks hollow, that the guy who's played the chief pirate. I had the good fortune of meeting Captain Phillips, the original guy. When he had come to Bombay, I was invited to meet him also. So I met him and I told him about these choke points and all. He said, I didn't know this. He was surprised to that the Gulf of, the Horn of Africa is also a choke point. I mean, he was quite surprised himself. This is Dubai. Dubai की हालत मालूम है सबको अभी क्या है. No news is coming out, but they are in very bad shape. Dubai airport alone is losing 13,000 crore rupees a day. 13,000 करोड़ का नुकसान हो रहा है. बहुत हालत खराब है. But here, Dubai is inside the Persian Gulf, inside. Here, this is Dubai here. See, this is the Gulf of Hormuz and Dubai idhar hai, idhar. This is Dubai here, inside. On this side of the, so this is the Nostrack project. It's called the INSTC project as well, the North-South Transport Corridor, which is being built by the Indians, the Iranians and the Russians to avoid the Suez and the Gibraltar and all those, the whole western route. So here from Bombay, this is Bandar Abbas here, and this is Chabar. Chabar is a port built by we Indians. The government of India has invested $200 million there in building Chabar. I've been to Chabar myself. It's a very interesting project, and the Indian Railways helped Iranian Railways double track the thing. See the container, you've seen those big boxes? The container was born during the Vietnam War, because the Americans were fighting a war halfway across the world, right? Now, they say the greatest generals in history, whether it be Alexander or Napoleon or Genghis Khan, were great logisticians. They were great logisticians. Because they say strategy is for the amateurs. Make a note of this quote. Strategy is for the amateurs. Logistics is for the professionals. The professionals discuss logistics and amateurs discuss strategy. Napoleon's very famous words, besides nothing is impossible, the second famous quote of Napoleon is, the army marches on its stomach. क्या बोला उसने? Army marches on its stomach. See, because if you can't feed your soldiers, how will he fight? Right? We played Siachen, minus 53 degrees there, right? Now, if you tell your soldier, sorry, we forgot to send you water, वो थोड़ा बर्फ तोड़ के आप उसको पिघला के पी लो, what is he going to do? He'll die. He'll die there. See, if you tell him, sorry, we had to send you .38 caliber bullets, we have sent you .36. क्या करेगा वो? हथौड़ा बनाएगा उसका बंदूक का. There is no, see, you can't. He has to fight. So when he fights, he has to be provided logistical support. Now, what is the Hindi word and English word for Hindi word, Marathi word for logistics? Anyone here? Hindi में क्या कहते हैं logistics को? No googling. You're not allowed to Google phone. Huh? What is it? हिंदी में word है रसद. See, Hindi word is रसद. जब फौज लड़ती है तो उसको रसद पहुंचाई जाती है. Why was Shivaji Maharaj such a great genius, military genius? Because he knew how to provide rasad. See the word rasid. Rasid. Rasid is English में receipt. Comes from rasad. कि रसद मिली, इसलिए रसीद. समझे? See the etymology of words, when you go into the history, you understand. Rasad mili and a rasid. And rasad. See, I went to Russia, to Moscow in a defense delegation, Indian delegation, and they took us to a place, a restaurant called, one of the most top line restaurants of Moscow, Moscow 1812. So I asked the Russians, like, sir, what does this number mean? So he told me that this is the most important year in the history of Moscow and Russia. Moscow 1812. Just make a note of Moscow 1812 and Google it. Moscow 1812 is when Napoleon went and conquered Moscow. The Russians realized that he had already conquered the whole of Europe, and if we fight, we die. तो हमारे में कहते हैं ना, सर सलामत तो पगड़ी 50. So Russians realized this, कि if we fight, we die. How do we save Moscow and Russia now? So one of the Russian generals, Kubokov, he came up with this strategy. He said, let him come. Just delay him a bit, let him come. And September 14, 1812, Napoleon reaches Moscow. To see what? Moscow was in flames. The Russians had burned down Moscow. They evacuated Moscow and they poisoned all the freshwater sources of Moscow. So there, when the French army, the Grande Army, 500,000 men, 5 lakh फौज लेके Napoleon पहुंच गया Moscow, जीत लिया Moscow, because the Russians didn't put up a great fight, right? Then, अब you have won Moscow, you have to keep possession, right? अब जीत लिया ना, तो अब रखो अपना ताबा. अब खाने को नहीं, पीने को नहीं, सोने को नहीं. 500,000 men. You imagine a Fauji eats so much more double, triple of what he can eat. And that's his requirement. Now what do? There is no shelter, no water, no house, no food. Because they had burned the... So this is called the scorched earth policy. And it is taught in every military school in the world today. The scorched earth policy which the Russians adopted. So barely for 34 days he could keep the possession of Moscow. October 1812, Napoleon orders a retreat. Back to pavilion, let's go back to Paris. 1812, Napoleon in Moscow. 1814, the Russians were in Paris. Aisi baji palti, the tables turned in such a way that 1812 he was in Moscow. 1814, the Russians were in Paris. And there in St. Petersburg Museum, they told us the story that as part of his diplomacy, Napoleon had gifted Tsar Alexander a very beautiful stallion, grey black stallion. Uski ek aankh grey thi aur ek aankh kali thi. That horse had one grey eye. It was a very unique stallion. Napoleon had gifted Tsar Alexander that stallion. And on that very stallion, Tsar Alexander rode into Paris. And the name of the horse was Eclipse. They say that horse was the eclipse of Napoleon. मुझे मेरे नाना जी की याद आई. My Nana ji used to say that घोड़े के भी पाइगुन होते हैं. Now people believe, elder people used to believe that even horses have some, when they come and they can bring you good fortune or good bad luck also. So this is what happened with Napoleon. Moscow 1812. And you know what the Russians say? We don't know so much of Russian history because what we know is only American. Because we speak English, we know American history and British history. The Russians say that what is our legacy in Paris? Every bistro in Paris is a Russian legacy. So I asked him, how is bistro a Russian legacy? Because their bistros are the cafes in Paris. Whole of Paris is full of those cafes, street side cafes. So bistro is a Russian word. And it means a quickie. So the Russians said every house we raped in Paris, because we had to extract revenge for having burned down Moscow, every house we raped in Paris is a bistro today. Bistro means a quickie in the Russian language. That's what it is, the story of bistro. Bistro means jaldi, jaldi. Right? So the other choke point is South Africa. South Africa is part of the BRICS. And it's one of the most endowed lands in the world. The largest amount of gold comes out of South Africa, the diamonds, everything. It's a very well endowed place. There are more than 3 million Indians, people of Indian origin in South Africa. Gandhiji came to India from South Africa in 1915. This is Cape Town. We have had an IPL match also there. Right? And the last one is Singapore. Like the Straits of Malacca. I am a product of the port of Singapore. See, here is again a choke point. This is just 2.5 kilometers here. You can see Indonesia. To build Singapore, they didn't have enough soil. Mitti nahi thi unke paas. You know where did they get the mitti from? From Indonesia. They have got soil from Indonesia to make Singapore. Because Singapore is all a marshland. You can walk across Singapore in a day. This tip is here, is Singapore here. Here, Singapore is here. See, during the Second World War, the importance of Singapore again. Why Singapore, Singapore? The dilemma for Churchill, Winston Churchill, was to whether to let Singapore fall to the Japanese or whether to let London fall to the Germans. Because the German Luftwaffe was bombing London and they had to save London, of course. And if you were the Prime Minister, you would say, save London. He said, let Singapore fall. Within a week, Singapore fell to the Japanese. And the Japanese were within 3-4 weeks, they were outside the gates of Calcutta. The Japanese have reached Calcutta almost during the Second World War. Huh? You should see this movie again. Byomkesh Bakshi. It's all about that, how the Japanese were planning an invasion into Calcutta. You know, in Calcutta, in Madras, in the Madras High Court, there are markings of bombings of the Japanese planes on the High Court walls. I've seen them myself. So the Japanese were at the gates of Calcutta, at the gates of India. They had come right through. Whole of Asia was conquered by the Japanese. And the dilemma was to whether to let Singapore fall. Now if Singapore is choked, China will collapse. There will be, if any of these choke points are tampered with, there can be a third world war. Otherwise there will be no third world war. If you try to do anything with these choke points, there could be a world war. See, if anyone tries to do anything in Singapore, the Chinese will go ballistic. Because all their petrol, all their fuel, all their trade, everything is going through Singapore. Singapore is a massive port. You know, the tragedy is when I went to Singapore, the instructors there who trained me had been trained in Pune earlier. I was shocked. He said, "Sir, I was in Pune," he was telling me. I said, "I come from Pune." So this is what Pune used to be once upon a time, the Oxford of the East. And those professors who trained me had been trained in Pune once upon a time. There is an institute in Pune called the Central Water and Power Research Station. The model of the port of Singapore is there in CWPRS. You should take them to CWPRS if you can. Not? It's a very interesting, every dam, every bridge built in India, anywhere, is modeled here and certified by them before it is constructed in real. CWPRS in Pune itself. So this is Singapore city and this is Bali. The whole country of Indonesia is a Muslim country today, but the culture is all Hindu, because once upon a time it was part of the Chola Empire. So on their currency note you will find a Ganesh. Everything is there. I mean the culture, the Bhasa Indonesia is actually, for us Indians to learn that is very easy, because it's all Sanskrit. They call this Pradhan Mantri, Pardhan Mantri. Everything is Indian, coming from our culture. But we don't know this. See, the greatest king to have ruled India, Raja Rajendran Chola, 1000 years ago, we don't even know his name. So this is Bali. So the ships which cannot go through Singapore, they can go through here. So in the seas also though the seas look so big and wide and open, it's not easy to navigate, because there are rocks, there are islands, the ships can get grounded. So this is the way to go for all those crude VLCCs, ultra large crude carriers, very large crude carriers, they go by Bali here. And Bali is a Hindu island in a Muslim country today. That's why people go to Bali for holiday, a lovely place for a holiday. So this is the Lombok Straits, and this is the Philippines here, and that's how the big ships go. There is no other way to go. See, here there is a possibility to build another canal here, the Isthmus of Kra, the Kra Canal here. So this is Singapore. The Chinese can avoid this. So this is the border between Thailand and Malaysia, right? The Chinese are willing to build it. But now you can imagine the politics, right? See the Kra Canal. You should research this on Google. There's a lot of material there. Maybe someday, I asked the Singaporean Home Minister when he was here in India, what will happen to Singapore if the Kra Canal gets built? So he said, he gave a very diplomatic answer, but this is a possibility. See, this is how the world's oil flows. And you see the biggest dot there? That is Hormuz. And now you understand what is happening in the world. Within 6 weeks, what the Iranians have been able to do to the world, because they control Hormuz. There is no other way the oil flows. There is absolutely no other way the oil can go. Geography is your destiny. See, geography, there are two things in our lives which will never change. What is it? One is human nature, right? Human nature has not changed much. You scratch the surface and the caveman will come out, right? Though, like Jala, if you push people, the caveman comes out. And the second thing is geography. What doesn't change? Can you move these? The Himalayas are the youngest mountains in the world, growing at whatever pace they are growing. Over thousands, billions of years, things. The Himalayas might become an ocean and something else might become the mountain. Right? They have found limestone deposits which prove that the Himalayas were part of the ocean someday, maybe a few billion years ago. But by and large, geography is a constant. Right? So human nature and geography. That's how geo is geography and politics is power. We all want to be alpha, right? Everyone wants to be the boss. Everyone wants to be on top. That's how human beings are. We are not different to the apes. You should read Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall studied, she lived for decades with the apes, our nearest cousins. And she says that we are not different to them. We are not different to them. Amazing lady, Jane Goodall. And since you are all students of computer systems, this is how the undersea cables also go. See this. There is no other way. The Iranians have threatened that if you act smart with us, we will cut the internet cables. And the whole system will collapse. You can imagine what will be the loss to the world. This is how the internet cables are going under the sea. There is absolutely no other way. How do you lay the cables? This is the only way to lay the cables. Your data is the new oil, right? Oil has got no future. I was in Saudi Arabia last year, and Saudi Arabia, they are worried for their future because what will happen to them after oil? See, they had become such a hardcore radicalized Islam country, the Wahhabi Islam. Now they have opened up. Ladies are allowed to drive. They have allowed ladies to wrestle. World Wrestling Federation. Ladies are wrestling in Saudi Arabia. Can you believe this? Because they want to liberalize, they want to open up, they want to building one of the most beautiful cities, that Noem City project. Because what will they do after oil? So they want to open up for tourism, they want to become a logistics hub because of their location. All that they are planning to do. But let's see how it happens now. Because all these monarchies of the Middle East, they are all monarchies. Like we had Rajas and Maharajas here. All these guys are like that. Now what happens to them after this Iran war? क्या होगा उनका? Will they survive? It's a big question. How will they survive? Because now the Americans, Tata bye bye kar diya Donald Trump ne to. What do you do? So it's going to be a big, see there is, what all is, see this is, how much time do we have? I think, okay. See, this was 2026. No, sorry, this is a recent India Today conversation between our Chief of Staff, not CDS, sorry, not Chief of Staff, CDS and that's why I keep saying Samudra Bharat, Samruddha Bharat. See, we are the only country in the world with an ocean named after it. Have you heard of a British Ocean? But they came and conquered us by the ocean, right? They came and conquered us by the ocean. They didn't come by land. The Portuguese. There is no American Ocean, no Chinese Sea is there, China Sea. But no country has got an ocean named after it. We have an ocean named after it. The tragedy is we don't look at the ocean. हम देखते हैं नहीं, हम सब दिल्ली की तरफ देख रहे हैं. You go to any fort in India, any old fort in India, हर एक किले पे दिल्ली दरवाजा होएगा, facing Delhi. So we are a subcontinent and have a continental culture. The problem is we forget that we also have an ocean. And we should have a maritime culture. And unless India starts looking at the ocean, we are not going to become a great country. We are not going to achieve our potential. We will never become a superpower. We will never become a superpower. See, these are the two sailors of India who are the only guys in the world, in India, who have done a solo circumnavigation of India, of the oceans. पूरा पृथ्वी की प्रदक्षिणा डाली है इन्होंने, दोनों ने. The gentleman with the white beard is Captain Dilip Donde. He is the first Indian to have gone round the world solo in a sailing vessel. The boat is only as big as this stage, maybe, or from here to there. That's it. Solo sailing vessel. And we don't even know him. That is the tragedy of India. I keep telling Dilip is a good friend of mine. I tell him that you should be more famous than Sachin Tendulkar. You see, if India has to become a great nation, he is the hero. He should be the hero of India. And that is Abhilash Tomi, who went second. After he was trained by Dilip. There are only 2 Indians who have done this. See, perspective is everything. How you look at the world. दुनिया क्या है? आपका नजरिया है. See, your young students, what will shape the world for you? The way you look at the world will shape the world for you. See, for people, there is threat, there is opportunity. Every threat, there is an opportunity also. आपदा में भी अवसर है. See, this is how the world is. Now, this is the 4 blind men and the elephant. What is the world? See, this is the Chola Empire. I was telling you about Raja Rajendran Chola. See, this is Admiral Zheng He. The Chinese had built a bigger armada than the Spaniards had, before the Spaniards. And he came to India. He came to India also. He came to Calicut, same place where Vasco da Gama landed. He died there, in fact. That's what they say. This is the Chinese issuing a stamp in his name. His armada was bigger than the Spanish armada. But the tragedy was, see, this is the voyage he took in 1415. He went to, because he was a Muslim, he went to Makkah, Medina, he went to Hormuz, they took a giraffe from Africa on their ships. You can imagine how big the ships must have been for the Chinese emperor to see. Giraffe le gaye wo. Here. There is a giraffe which is carved on our Konark temple also. See, it is Vice Admiral. I think I am running out of time, ma'am. I need to finish. Huh? How? 10 minutes? Yeah? Okay. So this Vice Admiral Auti, Manohar Auti, he lobbied with the government of India and the Indian Navy for 30 years, saying that some Indians should go to sea and do the Sagar Parikrama. And that's how Dilip Donde went. Captain Donde went because of Admiral Auti. He lobbied, 30 years it took to convince the government of India that koi to jana chahiye hamara. And this is the vessel which carried him round the world. So when he came in, the Vice President of India received him, because he came in before time, you know that, actually. Because he said, I couldn't control the vessel because the winds were behind me and strong winds. So what do I do? So they took him in and they hid him. They hid him and usko bola ki वापस जाओ, अभी the president can't come, the Vice President is coming and look suitably tired and all. So that's what he did and he came in again. But this is what actually happened. He'll tell you if you meet him. So this is Abhilash Tomi being received by the President of India again. Then 6 ladies were trained. 6 ladies have gone round. This is the first human being to do a solo circumnavigation. He was a Britisher. And he trained Dilip Donde also. And his boat was built in Bombay in 1969. And when Dilip sir's boat was being built, Captain Donde's, we didn't know how to build a boat. In 69, this boat, Suhaili, the name of the boat on which Sir Knox Johnston went around the world solo, was built in Bombay in 1969, and in 1990s, 80s, 90s, sorry, when we built, we didn't know how to build a boat. We Indians had lost that knowledge also. That is the tragedy of India. This is at the launch. I was there for the, and Abhilash was there. This is the Prime Minister meeting these ladies who went around the world. I met them in Pune when they had come. I was there for the launch of this book. You should read this book if you can. The First Indian. So you invite Captain Donde. I'll get him for you. He's a very good friend. I can request him to come for a suitable function. You tell him, you can get him. But you need to inform him because he's sailing most of the times. See, this is how we should look at the map. We Indians should look at the map like this. Ulta dekhna chahiye humne. Because this is our ocean. We look at Delhi like this. We should look like this. It's an ocean of opportunity there. You know, there are 40 countries around the Indian Ocean rim. South Africa, I told you there are 3 million Indians of Indian origin there. If you go into Malaysia, Tamil is an official official language. Singapore, Tamil is an official language. If you go to Bangladesh, they speak Bengali. You go to Pakistan, I went to Pakistan, they speak Urdu, which we understand, all of us understand. 70-80% of Urdu is Hindi. Whole of East Africa, I went to climb Kilimanjaro in 2002, right? So my guide received me at the airport, big, tall, lanky Masai fellow, Onesmo. Namaste, up India se aaye? I said yes. And then he's telling me on the way to the hotel, Tame sev gatia khaso. He's talking to me in Gujarati. So I said, no, I don't sev gatia. Then he's saying, laddu. I said, no. I said, Onesmo, where did you pick up all this Gujarati? He says, sir, my landlady in Nairobi is a Gujarati. Whole of East Africa is English speaking. It's all part of Anglophony thanks to the British Empire. And there is a huge Indian community there. All the business in Tanzania and Kenya is controlled by the Indians. Gujaratis and Kachis. You go to Oman, the richest family in Oman is the Khimji family, which is from Gujarat. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Malaysia. We've got so many Indians. If we start trading with the Indian Ocean rim, India will become a superpower. But we have to look at the ocean. ये ऐसा देखना चाहिए map. Map ऐसा देखना चाहिए हम लोगों ने. This is how the world is for us. We are looking the ulta, ऊपर देख रहे हैं. See, this again was in 2009 reported in the Indian Express. I'm quoting from the Indian Express. So if you don't wake up to our ocean, we have no future. The Chinese are wanting to do a deal with the Americans that you take the Pacific, you give us the Pacific, you take the Indian Ocean. Khatam, India has got no future then, if this happens. Right? See, as youngsters looking forward to what life holds for you, see, abhi cockroach party chalu ho gaya hai India mein. It's born out of frustration, right? See, when I got out of college, I was as equally frustrated. In 82, I used to wonder, what will I do in life? Kya karenge zindagi mein? Kya hoega? Because we are born during the socialism years, right? So India is at that stage again. But the greatest opportunities for you youngsters lies in these 3 domains, which are known as the global commons. Just make a note, the global commons. And which are the global commons? A global common is a domain over which no country has jurisdiction. So to give you an example, the easiest example is the sky. Right? The universe, it's a global common. The moon, the outer space is all a global common. Right? And that's where Elon Musk is working, SpaceX. It's going to become the most valuable company in the world. Right? The second global common is the blue waters, the international waters. And the third is cyber. So if you are all in IT, ERP and all that, SAP, right? There is huge opportunity in cyber, massive opportunity. This is where the future lies. And this is what the person, the admiral who wrote the American Naval Doctrine, this is what he said 100 years ago. Look what he said 100 years ago. 100 साल पहले बोला है. It is our ocean. Now if we don't dominate, who will? And if we allow others to dominate, then forget it. This is the choke points of the world. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I hope I made some sense to you. Yeah. And any questions? We have time for questions or? Huh? 5? How many minutes? 5 minutes? 5 minutes. Any questions? Yes? Yes. And where are you from, Arish? Chhattisgarh. Acha, boliye.
My question was that, sir, many countries are trying to reduce their dependency in global supply chain. So, what is your speaking about that, sir? Do you see localization replacing globalization, or will both coexist?
See, both will coexist. See, what is happening with all these, like, see this sea routes, I told you 90% of global trade goes by sea. Now in India, tragedy is we've never used our waters. It's cheaper to send cargo from Ahmedabad to Cochin or from Cochin. 700 years ago, I went to Assam, like recently, 2 years ago. 700 years ago, the Assamese used to trade with Kerala by boat. 700 years ago, we were doing all this. See, the oldest port in the world is Dholavira, which is in India, part of the Indus Valley civilization. It's near Bhuj, Kutch. Thousands of years ago, we built a port. And look at us today. See, why it happened like this is because we had this taboo in our head, Kala Pani, not to cross the ocean. See, if you cross the ocean, आपका वर्ण भ्रष्ट हो जाएगा, आपका धर्म भ्रष्ट हो जाएगा. ऐसी धारणा हो गई थी हमारे दिमाग में. And that is why we got conquered by the sea. Otherwise, it was, who got the Vasco da Gama from Africa to India? It was our Indian traders who were trading. I mean, they were Muslims maybe, but they were trading between Africa and Arabia. See, when I went to the port of Dar es Salaam after my Kilimanjaro trip, the boats being built there are still being built from wood imported from Kerala, and the same designs, 1,000 years ago designs. Even today they build the same boats. So what is happening is going to be the supply chains are, everyone is trying to diversify the supply chain. They don't want to be dependent on any one source. You want to diversify your sources, diversify your supply chain, and that is what is going to bring about resilience in the supply chain. Right? Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, please. Sorry, he's got the mic. Sorry. You go next, baby.
Jain sir.
Yes,
My name is,
Jain.
Ayush Tiwari, and I would like to share something.
Where are you from, Ayush?
Kashi.
Kashi, arey wah.
Thank you, sir.
The first river port has been built in Kashi. The first river port in India has been built in Banaras. The Prime Minister inaugurated it. It's not yet functional, but yes, shuru hua hai. See, because the Ganga is the national waterway number 1. And if we start using Ganga as a waterway, which we used to do thousands of years ago, the whole of UP will... See, UP chal padega to Hindustan daudega. Yes.
Sir, while having the constructive conversation with my uncle yesterday,
Yes, go on.
Constructive conversation with my uncle yesterday, and we have the regarding world trade and geopolitics, And at last we didn't get the answer for why China is reserving gold. So what your take on this? Why China is reserving gold?
See, हमारे यहाँ पे ना we Indians believe in a trilogy ना. हमारे भगवान कौन है? ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश, right? हमारी ये मान्यता है ना, ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश. So the Americans also have a trilogy, right? Can you hear me? Yeah. God. What is God for the Americans? G is gold, O is oil, and D is the dollar. समझे? हमारा ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश है. The Americans have gold, oil, and dollar because they think that if they control these three things, see, gold is the universal most liquid currency of the world, right? Anywhere you go, you don't need dollars, nothing's up. Gold is any day you can liquidate and get your way through. Oil is the energy of the world. Today, oil is the energy of the world. And the dollar is the most, it's the reserve currency of the world, right? Now, see, the Chinese are, yes, bringing up their gold reserves. See, after the Americans put, see, there was an article by Ruchir Sharma. He said, what was the peaking of the dollar? When did the dollar peak? See, when the Russians were sanctioned, the Americans during this Ukraine war put 30,000 sanctions on Russia, right? And see, all the dollar reserves of Russia were frozen elsewhere in the world. All this was done. So the Russians found a way around that. And that was the peaking of the dollar. After that, every country which used to hold their reserves in dollars started diversifying from the dollar. People started going into the yen, yuan, gold. Everyone started diversifying from the dollar. So, see, today we live in a world, earlier we lived in a world, maybe in the 90s, it was called the bipolar world. The USSR, which was communist, and the USA, which was capitalist, right? Communism and capitalism. That was the fight, the ideology. India chose to be a socialist country because we wanted to be neutral, right? Neither in this camp nor that camp. We were sitting on the fence then. And the USSR collapsed. The Soviet Russia collapsed because though they had such huge reserves, they couldn't trade, like I told you. They've got everything, but you can't trade because no access to the ocean. See, Pakistan bana kyo? Pakistan isliye bana because to avoid the Russians coming into the Persian Gulf. See, that is why Afghanistan was built. See, there is a book you should read, Kim, by Rudyard Kipling. Rudyard Kipling was one of the finest authors who was born in India. See, this my most favorite movie, Jungle Book, is Rudyard Kipling, Mowgli. And so in this book, Kim, he uses the phrase called the Great Game. The Great Game was the rivalry between the Russians and the British, and they both clashed in Afghanistan. And they decided that Afghanistan should remain a neutral state. So Afghanistan got independence much before we got independence. So Afghanistan was a buffer between these two empires, and then jate they built a double buffer of Pakistan. Pakistan is the client state of the Americans. It has been built for that reason. So coming to your question, gold, oil, dollar. See, abhi sona to everyone has diversified from the currencies and stocked up a lot of gold. That is happening. But see, oil there is no, see, everyone is going to diversify from oil. See, India is working on small modular reactors. I am involved with a think tank called the Maritime Research Center. So one of the advisors there is Admiral Verma. He is the person who built the nuclear submarine. So a nuclear submarine is a platform which is powered by a nuclear reactor, small reactor which is mobile, right? So India is working on modular reactors, small reactors which can be used, which can be mass produced. Because if we don't solve the energy problem of the world, you cannot solve the poverty problem of the world. Simple. So this is it. Gold, oil, dollar, remember.
Sure, sir. Gold.
Oil dollar.
Thank you, sir.
God, remember God every day.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, yes. Sorry, this gentleman wanted to, yeah, this youngster. Please, please, take the mic. Next.
Jain sir,
Jain,
I'm
Jain.
Rajan. Sir, thank you so much, sir. First of all, that you addressed this session so well. So I just got one question. Sir, as we all know that India is building a port in Nicobar Island.
Yeah.
So near Malacca Strait, sir, I just don't get it that how could India control that Malacca Strait as it is controlled by Singapore port, and the whole, I mean 70 to 80% of the Chinese shipment goes through that Strait of Malacca. So I
See,
never
that great Nicobar Island, again you go to the geography, is right at the entry of the Straits of Malacca.
yes, sir.
So if we sit there, we can monitor.
Just to monitor.
Yeah, we can monitor, we can choke it also.
We could.
We could like, it's not a big, it's a narrow passage. No?
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of piracy there. That's why the Great Nicobar Island project is being cleared by the center now.
Okay, sir.
Exactly, it's a very strategic location.
So, but,
I told you about the dilemma of Winston Churchill, whether to let Singapore fall or to let London fall.
So, but Nicobar Island is a little bit away from.
Yeah,
the
but
Strait
it's
of
at the entry of the Malacca Straits, right in that same alignment.
Yes, sir.
It's in the same alignment, which when the ships come out of Malacca,
The entry of.
we are there only.
Okay, sir.
Singapore is at the other end, this is at this end.
Okay, sir.
You research the geography more and you realize what I'm saying. Yes,
Thank you
next.
so much,
Yeah.
sir.
Last question, I think. Yeah? Last, sorry.
Jain
The
sir,
one question for the ladies if you want to.
Jain sir,
Jain.
my name is Sumit Tambe, and I have one question for you that sir, right now in the world, 80 to 83% of rare earth minerals are controlled by China, and EV vehicles and lots of solar batteries are being made from that minerals. So India is now dealing with other countries which have that minerals, but still, sir, China is far more ahead from India. So how India is going with that strategy, and how they are tackling this
I'm
situation?
getting you. Yeah. See, rare earths, the first thing remember, rare earths, the fallacy is rare earth doesn't mean it is rare. Rare earth doesn't mean it is rare. We have enough of rare earths within India. In fact, we have a public sector undertaking called Rare Earths India, right? Now what happened, the Americans had a lead in rare earths and they didn't think much of it and they allowed that lead to slip to the Chinese. And the Chinese have built up a huge refining capacity and purifying capacity, which beating the Americans to it. And now the Americans are dependent, and Donald Trump went to China recently. One of the points on the agenda was to how to sort out this rare earth thing. So India is blessed with 25% of thorium in the world. 25% of the thorium deposits of the world are in India, on the sands of our Kerala beaches.
Odisha, yes.
Orissa, Kerala, whole lot of beaches we have thorium. The thing is now we need to get, that's why I was talking about the small modular reactors. See, recently we achieved criticality in Kalapakkam,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
A nuclear reactor. Now to get to that transition phase where the enriched
third
uranium will make more. So there are possibilities with molten salt. We are using pressurized water, but molten salt is possible also.
Yes, sir.
So there is a lot of work going on in, if you Google molten salt, SMRs in India, there is a lot of material on that. So we'll do it. We are working on it. India is definitely working on it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, at the moment the Chinese have a huge edge. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any question for the ladies? Yeah? Yes, please. Yeah, the mic. Please, everyone needs to know what you are asking also. Jain, Jain.
Hello. Jain sir, my name is Sneha Mohite and my question for you is, in today's world, which global trade choke post do you think is most important and powerful?
See, they are all equally important. But remember one thing, see, most of the world, the population of the world is living in Asia, in the East. See, the future is all in the East. It's all in the East because India, China is 40% of the global population. Africa is growing at a faster pace and they have a younger population than us. Our average age is 27 or something. The African age, average age is 19. So the future is in the global south. Now the problem for the Goras, the Europeans and the Americans, is that their products are so expensive. They are priced out of those markets. See, I was in Thailand 3-4 days back, and the whole market is flooded with Chinese cars. And they are making electric cars at 1/10 of the cost of the Europeans or Tesla. 1/10 the cost. BMW is marketing cars in the malls and all, displaying their cars, because their cars are not selling. Their cars are not selling now. See, the big brands of Germany are not selling. In China, they are like just nosediving. The future is electric, like I told you, and the Chinese are way ahead. Way ahead. And they have the volumes, and the Chinese are very patriotic. They buy their own cars, and they are building better cars, better quality at cheaper prices. No one is able to match their prices. So now, see, see, the future is all in the East. See, earlier they used to say, go west, my son. Any child, they would say, go west. Today, I'd advise you go east. If you get a chance to go to Singapore or Malaysia. See, I was in Thailand, in Bangkok for 4 days. I'd gone for a wedding. So, there, Bangkok is better than any Indian cities. You know, first time I went to Bangkok, maybe 20-30 years ago, I thought it was some shady place. The reputation is not very good. But it's better than any Indian cities. Delhi, Bangalore, nothing can match. Pune cannot match Bangkok. In 4 days, I didn't hear a horn. The traffic is so disciplined. Even if they are waiting in the traffic jam for 20 minutes, half an hour, no one will blow the horn. There is not a single piece of kachra or plastic you will see anywhere. I didn't see anywhere in the river or in the canal or in the streets also. It's clean, disciplined. So the opportunity lies in the east. So Singapore, like you said, no, the Malacca Straits become very important, because that's the choke in the east. And all the population is in the east. Asia is almost 60% of the population of the world, 60-70% of the population of the world. Where is the opportunity? Human beings. The markets are here. And what we can achieve, our cost structures, the Americans and the Europeans cannot do it. See, we are going to go and buy their companies now, going forward. See, what did Mr. Mittal do? He went and bought Arcelor, the biggest steel company. He's become the steel company. Mercedes-Benz is not able to compete with Tata now, because of their Jaguar Land Rover thing. So, we are going to buy, because our cost structures are very, but we have to think differently. See, we can build huge companies out of India now. There's great opportunity. AI is a threat also. So we need to skill our people. See, हमारे में दिक्कत ये है कि हुनर को हम कीमत नहीं देते हैं. See, a धोबी's son doesn't want to become a धोबी because उसको इज्जत नहीं मिल रही है. But there is a huge demand for a धोबी's job. He makes more money than so many graduates will make. A carpenter's job, a mason's job, all these jobs will boom, because there is a huge demand for these guys. Carpenters, electricians. See, even if the robots come, who's going to repair the robots? An electrician will need. You need some guy who will understand electronics, electricians, some wiring, something. No? So the opportunity is in the east. So the choke points, see, the east of Suez. See, it is called the East of Suez moment in British history, when they gave up the Suez Canal to the Egyptians, Nasser, in the 1970s. And that was the end of UK's dominance in the east. So this Hormuz has become the east of Suez moment for the Americans now. See, that is why the oil is going to come from Venezuela, again from the east, via the Pacific, via Singapore, or via Lombok maybe. So the choke points of the east will become more important going forward. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think we are run beyond time. Bye-bye. Thank you. And all the best.